Well, we do have some breaking sports news out of the NFL tonight as the Kansas City Chiefs have made a decision regarding their future quarterback. Brandon Zenner is live with the absolute latest tonight from the newsroom. Hey, Brandon.
Good evening, Bob. That is right. Reports say that Kansas City has reached an agreement to trade Alex Smith, clearing the way for first-round pick Patrick Mahomes to become the next starting quarterback in Kansas City. As first reported by Therese Paylor of the Kansas City Star, the Chiefs will send Alex Smith to the NFC, the Washington Redskins. The deal has been confirmed by multiple reporters since in the last 20 minutes. We're talking the trade will involve multiple picks and a player, those sources are told, and will be finalized tomorrow. That means Redskins quarterback Kirk Cousins, he will now become a free agent likely. And Patrick Mahomes, drafted 10th overall by the Chiefs this year, will become the next starting quarterback in Kansas City. That also means the Chiefs will save $17 million, opening cap room to make other deals. And we have also been told that the Redskins will give Smith a 4-year extension, so he is guaranteed 5 years in Washington. Again, Alex Smith has been traded to the Redskins. Patrick Mahomes is your new starting quarterback in Kansas City, Bob. The motto this time of year is survive in advance. Good evening, I'm Brandon Zenner. District Championship Day across the area for classes 3, 2, and 1. Lose and the season is a wrap. That's the case tonight up in King City. St. Joseph Christian matching up with Class 1 number 1 North Andrew on the boys' side. Lions lost to the Cardinals by 30 earlier this season. First quarter, Ryan Hughes gets the scoring started with a deep three from the wing. Other end, Zach Maggart, he hits one of his own. Only the beginning of a huge night by the senior. Keeping it going from deep, Lance Strebe of the Cardinals connects. Then it's Maggart again. 6 trays for him for a game-high 18. More Hughes from deep. It's only the first quarter. Meanwhile, Missouri Western taking on St. Cloud State, looking to avoid a sweep. Bottom 2, Griffins up 3-0. Maurice Bruce dashes for second, but he's caught. Griffins maintain a 3-run lead. Top of the third, Jacob Miller makes the batter look silly. 2 men on. Miller does it again, finishing with 5 strikeouts on the day. Bottom 3, Levi Schreiner, he's going to hit a sharp grounder up the middle. That's a double play ball if I've ever seen one, but a bad defensive effort there by the Huskies. 2 on for Will Jeebus. He delivers the goods with a shot to the left side. Dusty Stroop races around from home. The Griffins add 3 more in the inning. They get back to 500 with the 9-5 win. Now the Northwest men, they had a chance to clinch the MIAA title today against Missouri Southern. Now, Southern, they handed Northwest 2 of their 3 losses in the past 2 seasons, though. Early on, the Bearcats looking good. A big reason why Lafayette grad Xavier Kurth, you see him on the 3 there. And then he hits another triple. 19 points for him on the day. And Cole Clearman and Western celebrating senior day as well. Pitt tried to spoil the day, and they just came in and hoping to shoot the lights out of the fieldhouse in the process. The first points of the day go to Donovan Franklin. Walks into the way deep 3, gets pumped up. More Franklin gets the shooter's roll. Only the beginning of a huge first half and a huge day for him. Kim Anderson kind of fired up there. Western winning back down, though. TJ Evans on the strong take finishes at the rim. Then it's LaVon Hightower. Look at the spin. Kiss off the glass. Pitt up 11-8 at this point. Demetrius Laverity joins the party from behind the arc. Studders fires away. He had 16 of his 22 in the first half. Prior to Sunday's win against Oakland, the Kansas City Chiefs defense had been quite underwhelming much of the year. During the 4-game losing streak, the unit forced just 1 turnover, had 14 total takeaways on the season. That compares to 23 and 25 through 12 games the past 2 seasons. Well, they got back to those turnover ways on Sunday. Now, time for some high school hoops. Mid-Buck traveling north to Lafayette High School, facing Diego Bernard and the Irish. We're going to waste no time. Bernard on the drive. Give him the bruise, give him the basket. We're just getting started. The monkey is off the back of the Kansas City Chiefs. 26-15 winners against the Raiders Sunday at Arrowhead. It was as close to a complete game as the Chiefs have played in some time. Exactly 1 week ago, I stood in this very spot and explained how the Chiefs were defending starting Alex Smith after hitting a rough patch with the offense. The defense played well enough for the Kansas City Chiefs to win, while the offense averaged just 12 points per game in the 3-game losing skid. Now the tides have turned. Alex Smith was possibly the best quarterback on a football field on Sunday, but the defense was far from its top form. Last week, the Kansas City Chiefs addressed a defensive issue at cornerback, went out and signed a very familiar face. Cornerback Darrelle Revis, known to those across the NFL for being one of the greatest of all time. But this week, he makes his return to a familiar home when the Chiefs travel to New York to take on the Jets. Road contest for all 3 city schools remaining tonight. No more football for LeBlanc or Benton. Both of them lost in the district openers this week. That means Christian Central and these Lafayette Fighting Irish right here, they're warming up on the field here at Kearney High School. Good Friday morning. We're getting all set for another Friday of playoff football here in Missouri. Lafayette They're trying to advance to the state quarterfinals for the first time since 1992. They will again be an underdog when they head to Platte County tonight, but it's a role that they're used to by now. The Kansas City all-time great was obviously released in the offseason, signed by Denver this offseason. But fans, they should not be bitter. We've seen lots of 25 jerseys in the parking lot making our way in. They're going to open up the gates here in a couple minutes. I'm sure we'll see lots in the crowd, and it's a return that Jamal is excited about. Yeah, and of course, Chiefs coming in at 5-2. A win would push them to 6-2, would tie them with the Patriots and the Steelers for the best record in the AFC, but the Steelers had that tiebreaker, #1 seed with that win here at Arrowhead just last month, and then obviously they would have the tiebreaker over New England because they beat them in the season opener. Hey, Bob, what's going on? We are about an hour and a half until kickoff at 7:30 over on ESPN, Monday Night Football. Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos, AFC West matchup. This is what football fans live for. Well, it's a new year and a new test, but the same Denver defense. They come into Kansas City on Monday night with the #1 defense in the league again, and Kansas City knows how big of a test it will be. Not wanted to go that way this year. Bar Hardy, the Lafayette head coach, he said he doesn't want to see 125 total points yet again. Now, Lafayette, LeBlanc, Christian, and Central all in town tonight. Benton, the only city team on the road. John's going to have those breakdowns, all those games for you coming up in just a second. After not playing since 2012, two schools set their differences aside for the greater good today. Missouri and Kansas finally getting back to playing basketball against one another, be it in a preseason exhibition at the Sprint Center down in Kansas City, and Devontae Graham and KU against super freshman Michael Porter Jr. and Mizzou in the showdown for relief to benefit victims of the recent hurricanes. Ever since his Twitter rant the day before Chiefs training camp, not much has been heard of from Tamba Hali. The veteran linebacker began the season on the physically unable to perform list and missed all of training camp with sore knees. Now ahead of Sunday's tilt in Dallas, Kansas City decided, well, it's time to welcome him back. The careers of those guys that came in after that quarterfinal run, such as Skylar Winmiller and Jonathan Owens, will end in black and gold in just 2 short weeks. But they know that there's still plenty worth playing for. Missouri Western now turns their eyes to Emporia State, where they will go on the road next week. They will finish up the season in 2 weeks here at the Spratt against rival Northwest Missouri State. Well, it was trying and ugly here early on today for the Tigers. They even trailed the Missouri State Bears late in the second quarter, but it was the Drew Lock show as he put up conference and school yardage and touchdown marks, recording 7 touchdowns on the day to will the Tigers to victory. Rewinding back to minicamp, there was a bunch of players who did not show up on time. Eric Berry, Justin Houston, Marcus Peters. But as far as we know, they are scheduled to be here. As far as we know, they are here. The Kansas City Chiefs are on campus of Missouri Western for the 8th time. Hey, good evening, guys. Mosaic Life Care, the Chiefs and Missouri Western held a joint press conference this afternoon to kick off training camp before practice officially begins tomorrow. But will tomorrow be the final first day ever in the history of Chiefs camp here in St. Joe? Only 6 of this year's first-round draft picks in the NFL were unsigned as of late this morning. Among those was the hopeful next franchise quarterback for the Chiefs in Patrick Mahomes, but with just 4 days until he reports to Western for training camp, he will come to St. Joe with some full pockets. The basketball teams at Missouri Western seemed destined for competitive seasons in the opening weeks of 2017, but that all quickly slipped away. But loss is nothing new to Rob Edmondson and Brett Weiberg, and it's something that will always connect them.
The old saying is you hate losing a lot more than you love winning, you know, and that may be kind of true for me.
I've always used that phrase that I hate losing more than I even like winning.
Yeah, it kind of does make you realize that there's a lot more things that are more important than a basketball game. You want these kids to understand that you never know about tomorrow. So make today be the best day you can have.
On the basketball court, the 2017-18 campaigns have not gone as planned for the men's and women's basketball team at Missouri Western. But these two coaches found their lives intertwined by a loss well before they came to this university. They always will be.
So the very first house I bought from his dad.
I hadn't met Brett at that point, and then he comes up here for his interview, and I go, "Hi, you're living in my dad's house." He goes, "Yeah, that's right." And so it was kind of a good icebreaker.
Both coaches enjoyed solid playing careers before getting a start in coaching. Basketball ran in the blood of the Edmondsons and the Weibergs, Brett being the middle of 3 brothers that included the youngest of the bunch, Jared.
We came up, just in the gym, being around the game. And
while serving as an assistant at Texas San Antonio, Brett walked back into the locker room after a win against Texas State on January 27, 2001. Jared had been serving as a manager for the Oklahoma State Cowboys and was flying back on one of 3 jets with the team following a win at Colorado.
My office phone's just ringing and ringing and ringing. Someone turns a TV on, and that's all that's on the TV. And so I immediately go into my office and call my parents And you hadn't heard from Jared yet, no. And so, you know, you kind of put 2 and 2 together immediately that this might not be good at all.
The crash claimed the lives of 10 people that day, including Jared Weiberg. He was 22 years old.
You know, we were close. Up until he passed, we literally talked every day. I think about him every day, and I don't think that's unusual.
The next year, Rob moved on from Hutchinson Community College to become an assistant at Oklahoma State. Rob eventually took over the women's program at Oklahoma City University. His son Corbin followed him and won the 2007 national title as a player on the men's team. He eventually became an assistant under Rob, but on April 16, 2011, Corbin passed away inside his apartment in Stillwater, Oklahoma. He was 1 week shy of turning 23.
Grief's a heavy burden. And me and Brett have that connection. When you go through a loss like that, there's only certain people that really get it. And that's people that have experienced that loss. And so we've drawn off each other a little bit because, you know, when there's some bad days and, you know, bad seasons like we're both having, well, we've been through tougher things.
I have a pretty good understanding of what he has gone through. And I just know it's not easy.
With Rob having spent most of his life on the sideline, it's an opportunity he only briefly shared with his son.
I lost my son. I lost my son, my best friend, and an assistant coach.
And while there are things much bigger than basketball, it does mean everything to some. And through the game, Brett and Rob draw on their losses, all in the name of Jared Weiberg and Corbin Edmondson.
I'm probably more passionate and more demanding and expect more because I understand those kids don't understand how fragile life is. And I want them to experience winning, to experience every day being as good as they can be, because I know what life's like when the next day it's not there.
You also want to make your players understand how every second counts. It does in some ways soften you up, but it also in some ways makes you want to have everyone understand and the kids understand that you can't waste your time.
For a while, you know, you have some anger and you know, you get frustrated with kids that, oh, tomorrow's another day. Well, you just don't know that.
Brandon Zenner, News Press Now. Now the legacies of Jared Weiberg and Corbin Edmondson still live on. Oklahoma State has remembered the 10 Memorial and recognizes them at a basketball game every year. As for Corbin Edmondson, Kevin Durant, formerly of the Oklahoma City Thunder, he wore this very bracelet right here every game the year after his death. Rob still wears it and carries a button with Corbin's face on it every day. Kevin Bryan's battle last fall was more difficult than any opponent he faced in 10 years with East Buchanan. Coming off back-to-back KCI conference titles, Bryan disappeared from the sideline in Week 5 of the 2016 season. His team learned the following Monday that he underwent surgery to remove a tumor and was beginning a fight with colon cancer.
I'll tell you what, you don't know what you miss until it's gone. And when I missed last season, it was like, you know, it's like something had been taken away from me. When I came back, it was like I'd been rejuvenated again.
The cancer, discovered at stage 4, still provides a daily fight. Bryan made the return to the practice field this summer, but even had to step away for more rounds of surgery.
It was rough because, I mean, Coach Bryan's always been around, and it was really hard to not see him at practice and stuff, and us being able to rally around him, it really gave us energy and made us go harder because we could see him struggling through it and fighting through what he was going through.
It actually gives us a lot of motivation just because we see what he's going through, and it helps us know that whatever we're doing, it's not as bad as what he's going through, you know, and so it actually gives us a lot of strength and when we look over on the sidelines and see him there.
This summer when I first saw him and he yelled at me for the first time, it was the greatest thing ever because, I mean, I knew he was back.
It's still a day-to-day fight, and it's still trying to get the energy level back and things like that. Get tired and stuff, but the kids just kind of rally around it, and the coaches pick up some stuff that I can't do, and it's been a real blessing to have these kids around me. It's nice to have their energy to build me back up, and hopefully I give a little bit of that back.
And with Coach Bryan back on the sideline, East Buchanan now owns a 7-1 record heading into the regular season finale. They'll bring that record up to Hamilton on Friday, where they will play for a chance at a KCI title.
It's exciting, really, to think about it, how far we've come. As the beginning of the season started a little rough, but we've grown a lot together.
Well, the opportunity at hand it's something that you play for when you start the season. It's one of your goals, and it's a big opportunity for us.
Brandon Zenner, News Press Now Sports. When Andrew Stroud was in the 3rd grade, him and his father Mike set out on a mission. Andrew dreamed of dominating youth football before making his name at Bishop Lamont High School, hopefully going on to college, hopefully one day all the way to the NFL. Andrew Stroud will now play the next 4 years here at Missouri Western, and his dad, Mike, will have the best seat in the house as he continues his duties on the chain gang. But Mike's journey to watching his son play college ball is the real story. Andrew Stroud is a gentle giant in the most literal sense. How many kids towering at 6'3", 300 pounds do you know who play the ukulele? It was at an early age when Andrew knew he also had a talent on the gridiron.
I think for my first game, that was whenever they had like 3rd and 4th grade play together, and I remember I had like 2 or 3 sacks in like the first half of the game.
You know, he was always such a big kid that, you know, a lot of times people would think he was older than he truly was.
Mike served as Andrew's coach from 3rd until 8th grade. Once Andrew joined Toady Dudick and the Eagles, his career took off. He was named All-City, All-Conference, and All-District 3 times. As a senior, Andrew earned first-team All-State.
He lettered varsity as a freshman. The biggest thing from that point on, it really took off. He was motivated in the weight room, motivated in every phase of things that we do in our training and so forth.
But while Andrew was making a name under the Friday night lights, Mike's health took a rapid turn. During his lifetime, he had completed 16 marathons and was as healthy as a man could be. But on Friday, December 13th, 2013, Mike visited the doctor due to problems swallowing food.
I remember the doctor coming out, and my wife was, I think she was down the hall a little bit, and he asked where my wife was, and the next thing we find out is that he found a mass in my esophagus and he thought it was cancer, and from that point, you know, things kind of spiraled.
Mike had stage 3 esophageal cancer that required radiation, chemo, and surgery to remove 3/4 of his esophagus and half of his stomach. He is able to work full-time, but continues treatment at Mosaic in St. Joe.
I knew he was going to be able to fight through it and overcome that. Being able to run 26.2 miles can't be very easy, and neither can being diagnosed with cancer.
So as Mike battles cancer and Andrew battles with the best in Division II football, Mike's glad to have the experience of being right there on the sideline.
You know, he's a gentle giant in the normal day-to-day life, but he is a beast on the football field. And he's got the competitive edge. He wants to win. I've been able to be with him ever, you know, since he was a little kid, and, you know, being able to be there on the sideline as he goes into college is really exciting for me.